There we go. I was muted. Look at that. All right, looks like we're in. Welcome everyone. Hello, good evening to you all. My name is Gina Trask. I am the Customer Success Manager here at Ownible. Thank you for joining us for our live Q&A session with Ownable's founder, Jordan. Looking really forward to spending some time with him this evening to get some questions answered. What we're gonna serve this session doing is getting some of your questions answered since we had our initial live launch a few weeks ago. We've had a lot of interest and a lot of engagement. So thank you to everyone that is here that also attended that webinar. We appreciate y'all being back with us. We've had a lot of, again, engagement and a lot of questions that have come in. So what we wanted to do was have this session to sit down with CEO Jordan and just kind of ask him some questions. So this is going to be more a conversational piece between he and I will be your voice. I will be the co-host today, and I will be asking him all of the questions that you all have shot over. We are live across multiple platforms right now. We have Ant in the background, who you met on our previous webinar, and what he's going to be doing is kind of manning the background. So if you are watching live on any of our platforms at the moment, appreciate you being here, but also feel free to be engaged. Send in your questions. He's going to be, putting some polls out there and asking you guys some questions throughout our time together tonight. So please be engaged. And if you do have a question based on what it is that Jordan and I are chatting through, please shoot those over and we'll see those in the background. I'm going to do a quick introduction of myself. If you were not here for our initial webinar, no worries, but I want to make sure that you know who I am. Again, my name is Gina Trask. I am the Customer Success Manager here at Ownible. My whole goal here in my role at Ownible is to make sure that you, the clients, our future clients, our current clients right now, you are satisfied, right? We have everything that you would need to make sure that you have a successful experience with Ownible. And so that's where myself and Ant come into play. So I live in Pinehurst, North Carolina. For any of you that are big golfers, you know right where I'm at right now in the middle of this crazy storm. I have a son. He's 7 years old. His name is Asher. He's right out here in this room. So, hey, you might see his little head pop up right here. In my free time, I love to just hang out. I like to be outdoors. And when I get the chance to, I love to sit down and read a good book. But let's be real, how often does that happen? So nice to meet you all. Again, thank you for being here. I'm going to go ahead and pull to the stage now the man of the hour, Jordan. And I'm going to let Jordan introduce himself, and then we will get into things. So Jordan, welcome.
Hey guys, I am Jordan DiGiacomo. I am the founder here at Ownible. And yeah, it's a pleasure to kind of answer some questions and actually start talking about the product. It's been a long time in the making, and I'm excited to get started.
Love it. Love it. Thanks, Jordan. I appreciate you having me here as well, sir. What we're going to do today, again, I just kind of have some questions I want to run by you. So feel free to answer them as best you can, knowing and keeping in mind, everyone, that we are going to have future sessions like this. We are going to have future webinars. And again, you have the opportunity to shoot in your questions in the background. So ready to get into it. Jordan, you ready? I'm gonna start throwing them at you. You good? All right, let's do it. Yep. Okay, first one. I think this is just kind of straightforward, and I love this one. Can you please give a brief explanation of how Ownible came to be? Let's start there.
Yeah, absolutely. So my internet is cutting in and out a little bit, so hopefully we don't have an issue. But yeah, I can totally talk about how Ownible kind of came to be. So to be honest with you, I never thought that I would be sitting here as the founder of a company. I think initially, my parents are both business owners. They're both like very entrepreneurially minded, and kind of seeing them go through business, I never thought that would be something that I would be interested in or that I would want to do. But here I am. I thought about I had an idea for what Ownible could potentially be. And I kind of, thought, hey, this might be something that other people are interested in as well. And so we started, diving into creating it. So to give you a little bit more background, my father is pretty heavily into real estate, and has raised kind of our entire family to be heavily involved in real estate. And something specific that we as a family kind of leaned on when we were getting into real estate is seller financing. And so the original idea for Ownable came about as a purely seller financing platform where we can help facilitate those kinds of deals, because when my dad first started doing it, he had kind of no idea how to execute a seller finance deal. And so I kind of thought, let me take that to the masses. Let me take the ability to do that to everyone, because it's both beneficial for buyers and sellers.
Yeah.
Now I will say, as the CEO, I think I do get some people saying, you're pretty young for for a CEO, and you may not have the full scope of kind of what you're getting into. But as I said, my family has been pretty heavily into real estate and alternative financing and such for my whole life. And I bought my house when I was when I was 20, and that was like my first investment property as well.
Nice.
And so I have a fair bit of experience in the field, as well as a heavy understanding for everything that we are doing here at Ownable.
Yeah.
And I hope to share that with everybody.
Cool. And I really respect that piece. What I love the most about it is like, we are a startup, right? This is definitely something that is new. It's absolutely new to me. But what I really love is that you are not new to it, right? This is something that you have a passion for. And like you said, like you were raised in this industry essentially, and not necessarily following in your father's footsteps per se, but you learned a lot about the industry, right? And so if there was anything that you could kind of pivot where you needed to and change things up, but you have that industry knowledge and you have a lot of that background. So you're not just jumping into something right here. You definitely had a vision. And I think that's fantastic that you're
Absolutely. And I think
like that.
I do think that kind of also, as I've been more exposed to the real estate industry, from the time that I kind of came up with the initial idea, it's been, a little over a year of, research and
Yeah.
development, and speaking with a lot of different people in the real estate industry, generally, everyone from just regular real estate agents to full-time large-scale alternative investment firms, and I've learned a lot along the way in terms of that as well. So I think that, I've been able to take a lot of that knowledge and apply it to what Ownable is now. And I think really make something that can benefit society,
Mhm.
hopefully, as well as kind of bring these benefits to the everyday person.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing that already with as much engagement as we have had within the last few weeks, right? Doing that research and making sure that you have all of that knowledge, again, not just from when you were younger and growing up, but what's going on right now, right? And how we can help people in the moment, in the current market. I think that's fantastic. And I appreciate that. And I know that all of the folks that we're going to be working with in the future are going to appreciate that too. Another question to kind of like lean into this, another question we've been getting, when people first hear about Ownable, they want to know if like, are we agents? Are we brokers? So how would you answer that question? Because I know that that is a question that we have gotten a lot. So how would you answer that?
Yeah. So we get that question. That's like basically the first question that that everybody asks,
Yeah.
because I think the real estate industry as it stands is fairly dominated by traditional banking, real estate agents, and real estate brokers pretty generally. Now, I think the best way to put it is that Ownable is your one-stop shop for all things alternative.
Mhm.
So we are not dealing directly with traditional mortgages. We're not dealing directly with a lot of the traditional ways that real estate deals are done. But with that said, when we offer our assistance with real estate transactions, everybody that we get involved is going to be a licensed professional. So when we kind of do the negotiation aspect in the background, and when we make contracts for real estate deals of a variety of sizes, we have fully licensed professionals that are ready to go that are providing that assistance. So we ourselves are not an agent or a broker in any way. We are purely a platform that connects people that are interested in alternative financing, as well as people that are looking to put their house up for sale in an alternative way to traditional mortgages and traditional banking.
Yeah, love that. I'm a huge fan of the alternative, right? Kind of like what we're doing here is almost like breaking the mold, right? Then giving people these new opportunities. Maybe, it's something that they never even thought would be possible. And in the end, all of the benefits, that the sellers and the buyers reap from this sort of interaction and communication and relationship is something that, is a little bit out of the norm, I guess, right? It is an alternative fashion, right? And I think that it's just fantastic because this is going to give a lot of people a lot of great opportunities, right?
Very cool. Yeah, and I think that the another massive piece to it is kind of that education aspect. I think we are breaking the mold, and I think a big portion kind of and the crux of this conversation, as well as the crux of the entire business, is educating people around those alternative ways. In the current market as it is, it's very difficult to buy a home to begin with, and then find something that kind of fits in your budget and could be affordable. And I think that there are a lot of alternative ways to do that, as well as if you're a seller, there's a lot of alternative ways to make a bunch of money with your property, but at the same time, still benefiting the buyer as well. So I think it's all about educating and exposing people to those alternatives as well.
For sure. I mean, it's something that I was not familiar with at all, right? Until you and I started having our conversations. I bought 2 homes, right? And if I had that opportunity, I would have definitely jumped on it, right? But again, it's not the norm, right? So this is fantastic. We're getting this information and this opportunity to people. So let's kind of give like a rundown. What is this platform? Who can use it? How does it work? What's the cost? Give us just kind of like a rundown of the Ownible platform.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Ownible platform as it stands right now, as I said, we were initially kind of designed for purely seller financing transactions. And as we've had more conversations with a variety of people in the industry, as well as a bunch of buyers and a bunch of sellers, we kind of have pivoted into a fully alternative financing based platform. So essentially what we are is a Zillow-like platform that provides all of the assistance that you wouldn't get on a platform like Zillow. So for example, say you come in wanting to seller finance a home, or you want to sell a home via seller financing. You have no experience with that, no experience in the industry. You don't have any of the resources that a lot of the, essentially rich people that are dealing in real estate have. You can come to Ownible, and Ownible has all those resources set up for you. So we have all of those things on the sidelines ready to go, ready to provide you essentially all of the services that would be required in a transaction like that: transaction processing, contract generation, and things of that nature. Now, in terms of cost, that's a big sticking point. I think everybody is a little cost sensitive and cost curious when you're launching a new product. But we try to keep our costs relatively low. So we have a $100 application fee that is for buyers. So if you find a house that you like and want to apply to on Ownible, you can go through the entire application process, and that $100 fee is going to cover things like a credit check, just so that we can make sure that you are copacetic with what that seller is actually looking for. And then in addition to that, the cost for sellers is a 1% fee of the value of the home once we sell it. So it's completely free to list your home. It's completely free to kind of leave it up there and collect offers. And then only once we sell the home through our platform do we take that 1% fee. So like I said, it is it's a really a no risk platform at the moment. Really, it's just like you would post on Zillow or something of that nature. kind of post it on Ownable the same way and expose it to an entirely different audience, and potentially buyers that are more interested in working with you in a variety of ways, and potentially getting more eyes on it as well.
Yeah, wonderful. It's so feasible, right? It's you would think that, again, something alternative like this would be like just astronomical, and what's the catch? And there really isn't, right? We're, again, the opportunity, giving folks this opportunity that has not been there before is just amazing. Okay, so now my gears are turning. Again, I have purchased 2 houses. So if, like, years back, if I was going to go and buy a new home, and hey, I might, because they're building a gigantic building right next to me. If I were to go and buy a home and work through Ownable, like, what would my steps be? Like, what would I do?
Yeah, so I think that kind of the first things first. Did you get a mortgage when you purchased your home?
Yes, 30-year fixed.
Cool. Okay, so that is 9 times out of 10 what I hear. And if you have gotten a mortgage, and I think if anybody has dealt with the mortgage process, I've dealt with the mortgage process as well. You know that it's a big time hassle, and it's a lot of paperwork. I remember sitting down when I first signed for my mortgage, and it was, I think, 300 pages of stuff that I had to sign. My hand was cramping by the end of it. And so,
clips, right? The huge binder clips. Yes.
100%. 100%. It was such an overwhelming amount of stuff. And kind of with that, there comes a lot of stipulations, right? So when you signed, your 30-year fixed, you signed at a very particular rate, and that rate is based on, a lot of larger governmental factors. You didn't really have much of a say. You could pick a 15-year, a 30-year, you could put a down payment down, but ultimately you're stuck with what you got. And so I think that the entire idea behind Ownable to begin with is kind of taking out that big banking, that entity out of the equation, and reintroducing a customization aspect. So you're about to purchase your first home, like years ago, you can come on and purchase your first home. The process is very simple. So the process is, as of right now, you can go onto Ownable's platform and, first of all, just take a look around. We have a variety of filtering tools that will help you kind of customize the exact offering that you want. So if you're looking for a particular rate, if you're looking for a particular home price, if you're looking for basically everything, we can customize the exact homes that you're seeing based on that. And then once you put an application in, there's still a bit of negotiation that has to happen, right? So I'm sure, when you were purchasing your home, you did some level of negotiation, some a little bit of back and forth with the seller of the home. But when you do that through Ownable, you can negotiate every aspect of what you want and what you need in order to, better suit you, and then also be a kind of a long-term win-win scenario for the seller as well. So as I was saying, you go on the platform, you customize your search criteria, you find a home. And when you find a home that you like, you just click apply now. And then you can type in kind of all of your specificities that you want. So when you go in, there are filters there that you can send in with your application that will tell the seller the exact terms that you're looking to get, and the exact way you're looking to purchase that home. You submit your $100 application fee, and then it gets sent to the seller, where kind of some negotiation processes happen. And yeah.
Amazing. Okay. All right. So then I'm hearing a lot of negotiation, which I like, flexibility, right? And so if I was to work with the seller directly, I would have a lot of those options. And I keep saying the word opportunities, but it's there, right? That's just what I keep falling back on, because that's something that I did not have in either one of my experiences. Yeah, there was a bit of negotiation, but the seller knew what they wanted, and there was nothing that I could do about that interest rate at the moment. So that's really amazing. And I think, again, it gives a lot of people the opportunity to do something so different. with this platform. This is fantastic. Another big thing that I really enjoy and that I like about this, because I said, like, I'm a fan of the alternative, right? Taking like big banking out of the equation, right? Like making it more of a personal experience. But then that brings in another question that I had from day one, and I know a lot of people have kind of sent into us, and they've wanted to know more about like the legalities in the background. So as this is all going on, like, tell me about the legalities. Like, how is this legit? What is it that Ownable has done and made sure that, you know, we have set up in the background to make sure that this is, you know, a legitimate process?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of the second biggest question. So everybody wants to know kind of cost, and then, hey,
Yeah.
is it legal? What's the deal? What's the
Yeah.
catch, as you said before?
Yeah.
And with this, there really is no catch. So as I said, we are not an agent or broker or anything like that. So we are not licensed directly to do these things, but we are just the platform that kind of connects these parties together.
Yeah.
But once you click apply, and once we start that negotiation process, we're relying on a lot of trusted partners and partners that a lot of people may already know. So we are partnering with Stripe and Plaid for our transaction processing and our payment processing. So none of anyone's information is at risk or anything like that. And then kind of once we get more down the road into the contract generation and things of that nature, we're having licensed professionals deal with that. So whether it is a broker or real estate attorney in your state, they are handling that. So we are getting the resources involved that need to be involved in order to have a completely above board and legal process. Now I think it's everybody's a little bit hesitant with it being such a new company and such. But we are also relying on a lot of companies that have been around a long time and are very trusted in each individual community. Like, you may know some of our partners within your community, or like I said, larger organizations like Stripe and Plaid.
Yeah. And I think that's great that we are, working with larger names like that, again, to ensure that this is legitimate and that we have covered all those bases. And this is something that we, take very seriously for our clients. Right. So one thing that I do want to just touch on a little bit, can you kind of dive into like the contract portion of it a little bit? If I were to be buying a house, working with the seller directly, just give me, what else can you tell me about like the actual contract step?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are not, strictly brokering these deals, as I have said kind of countless times already. We're not diving deep into the actual contracts themselves. And one of the best things about the platform is that we are here to help, but we also allow for a lot of free flowing communication and free flowing negotiation between the parties. Now, a lot of people kind of ask that question of, okay, well, how do I know that I'm not kind of getting the short end of the stick, as it were, and that this is a balanced transaction? Well, that's also what these brokers and real estate attorneys are going to be there for, right? They are our trusted resources that if you send a question to us and say, hey, can somebody answer this question for me? I don't even know what I'm looking at with regard to this, right? We're all about simplifying the process and educating, like I said earlier. So the entire premise is, hey, if you don't know what you're doing, if you are inexperienced in a particular alternative financing method, or if you are inexperienced with real estate generally, if this is the first time you're buying a home and you want to try Ownable instead of the traditional route, we're here to help you. So as I said, again, you send in a question, hey, this particular line in this particular contract, I'm a little bit confused by XYZ. We can have a licensed real estate attorney, send you back a response. We can have a broker send you back a response, things of that nature. So it really is all about the empowerment aspect of buyers and sellers, and the empowerment aspect of kind of, we don't need banks. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need big banks for real estate transactions. And in the past, I think the number was something like 80% of real estate deals in the 70s were seller financed. I think it's something along those lines. And I think, like, we should get back to that. You know what I mean? We should go peer to peer. Like, I would rather be doing business with my neighbor than, some larger organization. So
yeah, 100%. I agree with that. I'm really relieved that it's not going to be up to me to try to answer those questions that are coming through about these legal
yeah,
contracts.
absolutely.
Just
We're not putting it all on you, Gina. So we got it.
Woo! All right, we're good. I'm good now. Okay, so and I love this again. I love that it's all set up so well, and you know, it's we have these trusted partners, right? That we can they know what to do. So this is fantastic. Okay, so let's kind of turn the tables here. Again, kind of being in this situation, it's in the back of my head a little bit. What if I were to sell my house now? Like again, same kind of question. If I were a buyer, what would my steps be? What if I were to sell my house and list it on Ownable? What would my first steps be? What actions would
Yeah,
I take?
absolutely. So I think yeah, as you said initially, you know, you can book a one-on-one demo.
Mhm.
And I think that's the most important aspect right off the bat, because we have trusted account managers here that can deal with you directly and kind of start walking you through that process and help you where need be. And so I would say first and foremost, if you are interested in Ownable, or if you know have heard of us loosely and are interested in potentially using our services, I think that's the best first step if you want to sell your home, because they can kind of guide you through a variety of options that you have, and not just going and straight listing. But with that said, that is an option. So just similar to a buyer's account, you're just going to go on Ownable. You're going to set up your same account, but you're going to set it up as a seller's account instead of a buyer's account. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but in effect, we have individual dashboards for
Mhm.
buyers and for sellers, so we can see kind of different information. And so when you're a seller, you can go in there and you can see, you know, if you only have one property listed, you can see that one property, or if you want to list multiple with us, you can. Again, I think, you know, go via the account manager route. If you want to list a bunch of properties, it's just a little bit easier that way. We can do a bulk upload for you.
Yeah.
But if you're an individual that wants to do it, you log on, you go to your dashboard, you list a property just like you would list it on most other platforms. I would say Zillow, you know, for sale by owner, things of that nature. You can just kind of go straight in and list it. And then when you list your home, again, similar to the buyer's route, you can kind of dictate the terms that you want. So you can set your rate, you can set your price, you can set your down payment, a variety of terms there, so that you as the seller can get, you know, the most advantageous situation for you, but also have enough of a window that, you know, you could finance it for a buyer potentially. And again, as the platform was originally intended, kind of we're specializing in that seller financing aspect.
Mhm.
But recently we've been actually adding a bunch of individuals that want cash buyers, or a bunch of individuals that are kind of taking a different alternative approach. And then with that, Ownable can help you on the back end with that as well. But again, that's definitely a contact your account manager type of situation. But it is relatively straightforward for you to just hop on and do it yourself as well.
Okay, so then how would, and again, this is just, you know, from my knowledge, but this is also a question that we've had come in. Elaborate a little bit more on how the situation would be different for me dealing with the buyer directly than like going through the bank and selling it traditionally. How would that look different for me as the person selling my
Yeah.
property?
So I think that, you know, first and foremost, the entire idea behind Ownable is to take out a lot of the fees and kind of needless oversight that a lot of that gives. Both when you're buying and you're selling a house, there's a lot of terms that have to be met for the bank and for, you know, other real estate agents and things of that nature. So I think the entire process is to you know, strip away a lot of those fees and instead introduce kind of that peer-to-peer transaction like we're talking about
Yeah.
now. I think there's a lot of benefits with that. I think, you know, specifically going peer to peer, you are getting kind of first and foremost that more of a tailored audience. You're getting somebody that could potentially be exactly interested in the home that you're selling, as
Mhm.
well as kind of the exact terms that you're looking for, and
Mhm.
things of that nature.
Mhm.
So Additionally, dealing with someone kind of person to person, you can customize it.
Yeah.
You can customize exactly what you're looking for. So let's say with a seller financing example, you're looking for kind of some fixed income over a certain duration of time. You can talk to the buyer directly about that. And I think, having that direct communication about, hey, like, this is kind of what I'm looking for. And I know that this is what you're looking for. Can we meet somewhere in the middle? As opposed to having 100 layers in between you, the
Yeah.
bank, as well as my agent and your agent and the broker and the title company that's dealing with all this. You kind of are going to that one-stop shop that's
Yeah.
ownable and dealing direct with the person.
Yeah, you just like reminded me of something. When I was going to buy my first house, it was our first home. There was a note on the counter from the homeowner at the time, the seller. They had a little bowl of tomatoes that they had grown in their backyard, and it was just this cute little note of like, "Hey, enjoy some organic tomatoes from our garden, the raised garden bed in the backyard." And like, we ended up buying that house, but I remember the feeling of like, I never met that person, right? But just there was that one moment of connection that I had with the seller, and like I really appreciated that, and I will never forget that. So to be able to go through the whole process and number one, be able to negotiate, but also like kind of help my fellow man, like you're saying, this peer to peer. Like I like that idea, and I appreciate that so much more. And again, like if I'm involved with that, I'm going to learn so much. I might have questions along the way, but that's what our team is here for.
Yeah, and I think your story kind of embodies exactly what I was hoping to kind of create with this platform.
Yeah.
I am just looking to kind of get back on the ground.
Yeah.
I think real estate as of late has blown up to this thing where every house is $1 million, and everyone is in it for the investment, and everybody's in it for that kind of stuff. But returning back to the ground and understanding that people are people, and we can help those people kind of achieve everything that they want and make as much as they want, but turn it back to just ultimately one person dealing with another person. And that's our whole vision. It's kind of your home on your terms, and that's for everybody involved.
Giving the power back to the people, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. Okay. All right. Two very quick questions. The last one is going to be very, very simple. But one that we are getting a lot, and we're having conversations with people, is how is Ownable different from Zillow? Then, if you could break it down, and like that's what everybody knows, right? That's a household name. How are we different from Zillow?
Yeah. So we set ourselves apart in a variety of ways, but I would really like to highlight kind of first and foremost the support that you get with us. Like I said, any questions answered fairly instantly. You don't have to commit to buying a house in order to get your questions answered by our team. Come and ask us questions. We want that. And you get that support through the entirety of the home purchasing cycle. And then I think in addition to that comes with an ease of transaction. So you don't have to deal with all this stuff yourself. When you're doing seller financing or any form of alternative financing, a lot of it comes down to doing a lot of work yourself. But with Ownable, we take all that off your plate. So, you have as easy of a transaction going alternative as you would, regularly, as you would, purchasing a home regularly. So I think that's really important. And then I think that tailored audience is the biggest piece. I think having an audience that's coming looking for something alternative, looking to kind of mix things up, but looking to negotiate directly with you and have a conversation with you, I think is the kind of core to what we're offering. And specifically our marketing efforts as well are kind of going towards that. We're looking for people to be involved in the platform that want something different and want to see something change.
Yeah. And again, power back to them. Yeah, I love that. Okay. I feel empowered right now, Jordan. This is fantastic. So my favorite question I saved for last: how do I get involved? What do I do?
Absolutely. So that's my favorite question as well. We love to see people get involved. So either sign up on our website or book a demo, or preferably both. our website is open, totally free to set up an account, totally free to sign up right now. And we welcome you. We welcome both your, if you want to buy or sell with our platform, definitely go on there. Or if you just have some opinions and you want to share, if you want to say, hey, are you going to work on XYZ in the future? Is your platform going to be tailored to XYZ? We're working to adapt and change with the market and looking to evolve as a company, kind of from the ground up. So book a call with somebody. We have reps that are kind of like ready to go and ready to explain to you kind of how we can benefit you, whether you're on either side. So as I said, again, sign up on the website, hit us, info@ownable.co. You can hit us there. You can hit us at, or you can book a demo, as I said.
Yeah, awesome. And we're all over socials and everything, and you will be seeing more of us as well in the future. Awesome, Jordan, this has been fantastic. Those are all the questions that I have from my end, but I know again that our Chief Customer Officer, Ant Mancini, there he is. He's been in the background, and I know he's been getting some questions from all of the different platforms that we have been connected to. So Ant, I'm going to let you jump in for a moment.
Sounds fantastic. I'm back. We're back. We're live. Thanks, Gina, for doing that. And Jordan, you guys did a great job. We have tons of input coming in from across the different socials that we're on. You actually hit on a lot of these. And so for the sake of time and, just to make sure we're keeping people's attention, I do want to just bring up two specific questions. Number one being the privacy concerns with data. So that's something, Jordan, that you and we've been talking to a lot of customers. And the common question we're getting is, well, is my data being passed along to the seller and vice versa, from the seller asking, like, do I get to see the buyer's information? So if we could just get a little clarification on what information do the other parties see and how we're handling that.
Oh, sorry, my internet started freaking out. All right, so 100%. So data privacy concerns are a big thing for us, and we take them very seriously. So first and foremost, that is a big portion of our trusted partners. So our trusted partners are here to ensure that we aren't directly dealing with anyone's data. We're kind of letting Stripe and Plaid deal with a lot of that data in and of themselves, as well as we are not sending any sensitive data or storing any sensitive data generally. So when we take your data, we're running the credit checks, running the income verification, and then we are not storing any of that data, nor are we necessarily passing any data along to the seller that they would not need to handle the transaction. So the credit check is obviously a credit check for a reason. So we're going to send the credit check, but we're not going to send any of the sensitive data that was used to run that credit check. So
yeah, I think it's just worth repeating too, because to your point earlier, we're newer, so there's a lot of skepticism in what we're doing and how we're operating. So repeat until people understand and they fully comprehend how we're going to serve them, and we're going to do it in a very safe and secure way. Now, the other question, again, I think y'all touched on this briefly. Maybe I missed it, but I was, again, man behind the curtain over here earlier, so I had my head down for a second. But what is the fee that we are collecting? How are we collecting it? When are we collecting it? Because again, you and I know we've been talking to a lot of specifically sellers, and their biggest question is, okay, free marketing sounds a little too good to be true. How are you making money? How do you get paid? And when do I have to foot that bill effectively? So if we could just maybe flesh that out a little bit more.
Absolutely. So it's a relatively straightforward process when you pay and when you get paid and all that. So I'll kind of go through that again, as I said. So if you are a buyer, you are not paying anything to kind of look through our platform, look through the houses that we have available, check all those out. You are only paying when you submit an application. And as I said, you're submitting a $100 fee when you submit your application, just for us to do the credit checks and things of that nature and process that transaction and get all of that information over to the seller. And then if you are on the seller side, you are not paying anything to use the platform. You're not paying anything to list. You're not paying anything for our marketing services or anything of that nature. You are literally just paying once we sell the home, and you are only paying a 1% fee on the value of the home once it sells. Now, eventually, once you do sell the home, let's say you go with the seller financing route, for the seller, a big question is kind of how are they getting paid as well? So,
Yeah.
one thing how we're getting paid, but ultimately the seller needs that information as well. So, and that's where Plaid comes in, our trusted banking partner, and we can set up direct transfers between the buyer and seller. And again, none of that data is stored with us. That is handled through Plaid, bank to bank. We kind of step away at that point. You can still see all your transaction history through Ownible, but we are not storing any of that information.
Amazing. All right. Well, I'm glad that we just reiterated that. And for all this information too, it's not just us saying it once on here. If you want to go read this, on your own time and, take your time to digest it, got my little banner that appears on the bottom of the screen. Just go to ownable.co. We have everything listed there. FAQs, specifically how we serve buyers, how we serve sellers. Everything that Jordan and Gina touched on today is on our site. And if you still have questions, or maybe you just want to demo the platform, Jordan and I have both said it. We'll keep saying it, but use the link that we have here, folks. Book a time. There's no commitment. It's just literally us wanting to talk to anybody that's interested in using the platform, because we are newer and we want to make sure that you understand we're trying to bring back the people to people, not just the peer-to-peer financing, but that person-to-person relational aspect of home purchasing and financing. And we want to just make sure that we can talk to you and address all your questions and concerns. So I've sent this out in our comments. I've sent it out on our banners that are appearing here. But again, this will be on the site as well. So you'll see it in the nav bar at the top. You can just go and book a demo with us at any time that's convenient for y'all. Now, Jordan, as we wrap up here, there's a couple things we want to touch on. Dropping a few new listings that have already come our way across state lines. So I know we have some in Pennsylvania. We have some in Utah, Idaho. Am I missing any here, Jordan?
I don't think so right now. Those are the 3 states that we're operating in right now, but there are plenty more to come. We're having a lot of interesting conversations with a lot of homeowners kind of nationwide. And as we get more, it makes it, more fun and more interesting for you to kind of come on board, come on the platform and check out your individual state wherever you may be.
Yeah. And we didn't mention this, but if you want to get updates on when new listings are available in your area, go to ownable.co. And make sure you subscribe to our email list, because we're literally sending state-specific updates, just like you probably get on another platform, but we're sending them right to you. You're going to get them first since we're growing rapidly, and you'll be able to check out those listings before anybody else. So if you haven't, subscribe at ownable.co. Takes 2 seconds, and you can unsubscribe whenever you want, because we're not sending you a bunch of garbage. We're sending you helpful emails. So 2 things. Do you want to talk about that referral fee? Or a referral bonus, I should say, that we have going on still for the next 15 days?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we are running a program right now that gives you $500 back as a referral fee. If a listing gets listed on Ownable and then sells on Ownable, we're giving you $500 back as a referral fee for that. And that is, again, as you said, running for another 15 days. Yeah, we think it's an awesome opportunity for you to bag some extra spending cash, walking around town money.
I mean, literally, again, they just got to mention your name and list on the platform, which again is free to list on the platform, and you get $500. So spread the word, please. if any of our friends and family are watching and we haven't already told you about it, make sure you're spreading that word for us, because we obviously appreciate you. Last thing I want to personally mention is we have future webinars. We're going to do these on a rolling basis. We're going to have specialized content for all of our buyers out there, and we're going to have specialized content for obviously all of our sellers, right? Our property owners. We're going to have more information on those on our site and specifically our email list. So again, circle back to subscribing on ownable.co, and you'll be able to see all of that as it comes out in real time. But I think, Jordan, that's everything I got on my end. Anything else you want to touch on before we wrap up here this evening?
Nope. I just wanted to kind of say thank you for everybody for joining and watching and listening. You know, I'm very passionate about this company, obviously, and I'm very passionate about, you know, kind of seeing everybody, you know, pouring onto the platform and the shows of support that we've gotten so far. So thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Gina, as well for helping out with this Q&A session. And thank you to everybody who's watching, and thank you to anybody who, you know, signs up on the platform as well going forward. So
Awesome. Sounds great. Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate you, man.
thanks.
All right. Have a great night, folks, and we'll see you on the next one.